Hey, Prime members! Have you heard? You can listen to your favorite podcasts ad-free? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free-podcast. That's amazon.com/ad-free-podcast to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
There's more to imagine when you listen. So let your imagination soar with Audible. Audible has audio titles from every genre that will inspire you to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog. Enjoy an exciting reawakening of a beloved classic with the Audible original David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, produced by Academy Award-winning director Sam Mendes, starring Ncuti Gatwa, Helena Bonham Carter, and Theo James. This adaptation breathes new life into a familiar tale. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sickos Committee podcast. If you are a regular listener of this show, you know that I am not Jordan. Jordan is currently on assignment, but he may be joining us later. I am your host for tonight, obnoxiously Pitt Girl, and alongside me, I have Commissioner Escalante, producer Arthur, and returned from her assignment, Beth.
I'm back.
Beth, how are you? You're back. How are you?
I'm great. Things are good. Everything is fine. And I watched West Virginia minimally, which is why things are good and everything's fine.
There you go. Commish, how you doing tonight?
Oh, good. It's been a hectic weekend, but just glad to be back and ready to talk about some football.
Woohoo!
Are you ready for some football?
Arthur, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. My Portland Trailblazers are undefeated so far in the NBA Cup, so there's a lot to celebrate.
We love to see it. And I have returned from a quest across the Commonwealth, about which I will pontificate later. But listener, I think I forgot to tell you, this is the podcast episode for Sunday, November 17th. So now you know where we are in linear time. With that, I think we're just gonna hop right into it, unless anybody has any breaking news beyond. No, I see head. Head shaking.
There is breaking news.
There is.
The Toronto Argonauts have won the Grey Cup.
Hooray!
I think they intercepted the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on 3 straight drives.
Oh no!
Yeah. It was close, and then it very wasn't.
It was close, and then the quarterback for Winnipeg, Zach Collaros, got hurt, and he hurt one of his fingers, and that's kind of important when throwing a football.
Yeah, fingers seem important. They seem like a thing that you want to have.
Yeah, apparently he doesn't. He has never used a glove when throwing a football before, and he needed to use a glove, and
it didn't work out.
No, the very first pass that he threw with said glove was an interception. And then the very next pass that he threw with said glove was an interception. And yeah, that you don't want that. So
no.
Sorry, Zach. It was a good try, buddy.
I mean, hey, it wouldn't be the first time that a successful football player got in trouble with a glove. So.
Okay, moving on. We're gonna jump back in linear time to Wednesday, November 13th, which blessed us with some action. We had Akron at Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan at Ohio, and Kent State at Miami of Ohio. Kent State had their first lead of the year. Woo!
They did.
Let's not talk about anything else.
No, we don't have to talk about anything else in that game. I mean, Kent State got a lead.
Improvement.
They did. I mean, they were finally in the 10th game of the season. They have gotten their first lead Or is it the 11th game? I don't. No, it's
No,
the
it's
10th game.
10th.
It's
10th,
10.
yeah. On the 10th try. 10th try is a charm. To get a lead at least.
That's what they say.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard. That's the saying that I've heard.
Yeah. I'm going to make a hat that says 10th time's the charm to get a lead at least.
If at first you don't succeed, you need to try again. Okay, is that enough?
I don't know. I wasn't
have no
really
idea.
counting.
Somebody count it and yell at us when the podcast comes out.
Count it.
Count it, please. I'm asking, please.
The MAC is interesting this year because I feel like usually the drama at the end of the season with the MAC, like, yes, there's a question of who's going to play in the MAC championship game. By the way, that is still very much up in the air. There's actually 3 teams tied at the top of the conference standings right now at 5-1, and then 3 more teams right behind them at 4-2. So that stuff still really up in the air. But of the 12 teams in the MAC, 6 are already bowl eligible. It feels like usually in the MAC, the end of the season, it's a lot of like 5-win teams trying to get that last one. And half of them are already there. Then there's 4 that will not be making a bowl, 7 or more losses already. Yeah. There's only 2 teams that are kind of on the cusp, and they're both directional Michigans. You've got Eastern Michigan and Western Michigan. They actually still have to play. So
do they play this week coming up, or
no?
Is it next week?
They play. I believe that is the final game of the season. So it is possible if both of those teams lose this week, we get a bowl eligible. But it's also possible that we go into the final week of the season because Eastern, they host Buffalo. Right. Solid team, but there's no reason that Eastern can't win that game. And then Western Michigan, they are going to a not very good Central Michigan team. So, it's possible that we have 8 bowl eligible MAC teams before the final week of the season, which I feel like personally, that's a rare thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on it. With that, we'll just hop into Game of the Week recap, starting with a game that I missed, sadly, because I was in attendance at the Pitt game. But FAU at Temple 18, FAU 15 in overtime, our only owl-on-owl battle all year long. Temple wins. We have 3-win Temple.
3-win Temple. The prophecy is here. The Temple Owls win the hootenanny.
That's fantastic.
No, okay. Nobody reacted to the hootenanny. All right, that's fine.
Assault.
So Temple wins this. Temple gets the 3 wins.
How did Temple react to this?
Temple reacts to getting to 3 wins by firing Stan Drayton.
I'm like, okay, this is incredible. So like, it's the game of the week, and we picked the game of the week, and it's the game of the week by a vote in our Patreon. So in our Patreon and our Discord, if you're a member of that, every now and then, the commish myself cannot decide between, the top 4 games, whatnot, of the week, and I just can't, like, nothing is calling to me or anything like that. And that was this week. So we did a poll for the top 4 games. There were clear top 2 games. It was Nebraska and USC. And the Battle of the Owls, or the hootenanny as I called it. They like overwhelmingly won the 4-team game poll. So I was like, fine, let's do ranked choice voting. Now you have these 2. And we got 91 votes in this poll. And the FAU Temple game won the game of the week vote by a vote. By a single vote. Your vote matters. Join our Patreon. And this game was incredible. And it went to overtime. Nobody really wanted overtime here, but I mean, we did. We loved it. FAU ties it up late with the touchdown and 2-point conversion. Temple gets the win in OT because, FAU misses their field goal. And then Temple's like, no. We're going to fire our coach now.
Well, okay. So I just want to ask, or I guess find out. So we say Temple fired the head football coach. But who specifically was it who fired the head football coach per the official Temple press release. I have it in front of me.
Okay. I believe it is
I
the
can
new
read it here.
university president who just started like a week ago.
No, so okay,
No?
so I'm just saying who is credited in the press release as announcing this. That would be this is the full title. Temple University Vice President / Debbie and Stanley Lefkowitz 65 Director of Athletics Arthur Johnson. That's the full title. It is not enough to say athletic director. You have to have the family, I guess the couple, I don't know, sponsoring this.
I think that having the person who does the firing having an endowed chair is both beautiful and maybe the most sinister thing I've ever seen in college football.
Well, because you have that, and then on top of it, this person also has to get in that they also have a vice president title. It's not enough for them to have this endowed athletic department title. They have to include that they are also our vice president, have a vice president position at Temple.
I'm looking at this statement on mobile, and the title, just the like headliner where it says Philadelphia dash and then the athletic director's title takes up 3 lines on an iPhone.
I'm imagining like the nameplate on the desk, like the sign outside the door.
The nameplate on the desk is the length of the desk.
Yes.
It's one of those things that you get, like the nameplates on the desk. I just love it. It's just the entire.
You have to use ticker tape.
The desk. I mean,
like one of my favorite things
it's a
to
CVS
see.
receipt.
CVS receipt.
is.
Like the. One of my favorite things to see in a movie or TV show is when someone just has like the title on their desk, but it's literally just their job, just in case you didn't know. Like someone goes in to have a meeting with their lawyer and they literally have a nameplate on their desk that just says lawyer.
I just like the idea that instead of a business card, this person unfurls a scroll.
Hark, I am the Temple Athletics Director, also known as Unroll Scroll.
What is that role? Like, it just the person that introduces.
They
the
get a
lawyer.
herald.
Yes. They walk in to the room. There's like hooting of owls.
Hear ye, hear ye. I'm sorry, hoot ye, hoot ye.
I mean, I'm imagining someone introducing the athletic director the way that, like, if you've ever seen the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Contest, like, you know how George Shea, the MC, has these like ridiculously long titles that he throws in. Like, I'm imagining that's how this guy gets introduced, or maybe like a boxing or wrestling type like announcer, right? Where like someone's coming in, that's like we gotta give all the titles that they have because it's important to us.
What do you think, looking at our budget, what is the position within an athletic department that we think we could endow? Like, what's a chair that we might be able to endow?
Can we just like make it like, you know, the ULM official punter, like the Sickos committee?
I wonder, can you endow a college athlete? I'm not sure that I've seen that.
I don't know if that falls under NIL or not. You could definitely endow a coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or an official within it.
The Teal College head football coach, brought to you by the Sickos.
Oh,
committee.
we could believe.
We can afford that.
We could afford that. That is well within our budget.
We have attainable goals here at the Sickos committee.
Okay, I like that. Start with D3, and we'll work our way up to FBS, and we'll get to ULM eventually. We'll start with Teal.
Although I kind of want to name the broadcast booth after us, to be honest, after listening to their broadcasts, which are a delight. If you're not listening to Teal football on Saturdays, what are you doing with your lives?
I my question is, like, can you endow multiple positions? So, like, could we have it be like the Sickos Committee athletic director has announced a leadership change at the position of Sickos Committee head football coach?
I mean, I think we could do that. Do you think Teal would allow our logo on the field?
Probably.
We asked nicely. See,
I've seen
Arthur,
I've seen what they've been willing to do sponsorship wise.
Okay. I'm gonna have to email them, Beth.
Yeah, we'll have to send them some emails. Arthur, you said endowing multiple positions. I was picturing on-field positions, like we've endowed the entirety of the special teams unit. That punt was brought to you by the Sickos Committee Special Teams Unit.
The punt is fielded at the 7-yard line by Sickos punter number 7.
Imagine having to do that on broadcast, like having to get that in. Because I know, like, when I listen to or watch games, like, there will be certain things where they have to get this in, right? Like, I know Alabama, if you're listening to the Alabama radio call, they have one sponsor for the first down of a game and then a different sponsor for subsequent first downs. But like every first down, they have to like squeeze that in. Like
Georgia had it too. Like you listen to the college football blitz, like Georgia's like this first down is brought to you by this, and that gets them into this red zone. And I'm like
and even if they're running hurry up, it's like we have to keep hitting this. We have to keep like every time. I mean,
gotta hit them. It's with the NASCAR sponsorship.
I mean, yeah, in NASCAR, like. You'll never hear them just say like white flag. It's not the white flag. It's 1 to go presented by Credit One Bank. And it like every iconic last lap call has to have that in there. So
ONETOGO. Anyway, moving on. Houston at Arizona Friday night. I will say I am grateful that we did not pick this one at the game as the game of the week. Because Houston has returned to being down bad, my friends. Final score there 27-3. Houston 2 for 13 on third down, 0-4 on fourth down. That is rough, buddy.
Not good at all. I made it to this game. Well, I made it to the game. It was the nightcap on Friday. Arizona made it 27-3, I think, in the beginning of the fourth. And I was just like, I don't think I can, do anything. I didn't miss anything. It was 27-3 in the final. I was just like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm exhausted from the work week. And I was like, I just can't do it anymore. Our resident Canadian Joey stayed up for the rest of it. And there really wasn't much to tweet about that final quarter. Because, I mean, Houston away from home, not good. Not good.
No.
Houston at home, a little scary. A little scary.
Houston, I think, is still getting better on net, but this was not a good night.
No,
for the
not
Cougs.
at all. They beat Utah at home. They beat Kansas State at home. They got killed by Kansas on the road. Got killed by Arizona on the road. They did beat TCU on the road. That's their only road win. Which I mean, it's still in the state of Texas, so that kind of counts. I guess. But then, they beat Rice, which was it's a home game in Houston, and they were hosting. So every other game they play, they only lost one at home to the opening game against UNLV. So
okay. So note to self: don't play Houston at Houston.
Don't do it unless you're UNLV.
Got it.
Yeah, or also don't play Houston at Ammon G. Carter Stadium. I can tell you that is not a fun time.
Yeah. Anyway, Nebraska at USC. Nebraska did the thing where they lost the one possession game again.
Yeah, I guess 8 points, technically one possession.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
But another in the book.
Another in the book for Nebraska.
They were like they were not that far from winning this game though, because they had the ball with a chance to score what could tie the game with the 2-point conversion, but they didn't even get to that far. They threw a pick instead of throwing a touchdown.
That pick, it was like 10 seconds left in the game and they threw it up. And there may have been some pass interference on that one. Maybe.
I mean, it's hard to get those calls in that specific situation where you're
I mean,
end of the game just trying to shut it down.
At least it prevented them from like getting that touchdown and then failing on the 2-point conversion to make it worse, I guess.
I don't know. I think throwing the pick is worse. But
I mean, they could have threw a pick on the 2-point conversion. Bright side of things, I guess, Nebraska. Not really. No.
Nebraska needed this one if they wanted to be bowl eligible.
They do play Wisconsin next week in a bowl eligible They're both 5-5, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, either of these games that Nebraska has left, it's like, man, like they could win, but I'm
But
kind of at the point with them where I don't think it's really about who they've played, because you could look at most of these last few games as games that they could have won and they didn't.
Yeah.
Like I firmly believe they've still got 2 winnable games on the schedule, but they've had a lot of winnable games that they haven't won, and so
But can
at
they
a
win
certain
them?
point,
Yes.
at a certain point, there's just not much left to say other than, oh boy, I don't know how this goes. I mean, they've swapped out offensive coordinators now. Like I don't know. I really there's one thing out there that could happen. It's not at all related to college football. If it happens at some point in the next 2 weeks, I will guarantee a Nebraska win, a Nebraska bowl appearance. But
Okay.
I have no idea if it's going to happen. I know it'll happen sometime in the next, roughly 6 months, but I don't know if chances are it won't happen in time. I'll tell you what it is if we get to Selection Sunday or we get to the final game of the season and Nebraska doesn't make a bowl. I'll tell you what my condition was.
Okay.
But
Okay.
until
We will
that's
hold you to that.
fulfilled, has nothing to do with college football. I'm abstaining from Nebraska prognostication.
That's fair. Before we move off this game, I would like to posit a theory. And that is that we are getting more hype about Colorado. The Colorado hype cycle is starting back up because Colorado is legitimately better this year. But one thing that I think we are all kind of forgetting is that Nebraska did win that game September 7th.
They sure did.
Perhaps they are tanking just to drag Colorado back down.
They beat their rival, and then they're trying to make their loss to Nebraska, like Nebraska's intentionally tanking to make the Colorado victory look worse for Colorado. I mean,
Correct.
Okay.
To make the loss to Nebraska look worse, like
You're
it's
gonna
like
hurt their
a
strength
you
of
lost
schedule.
Vanderbilt
Yeah.
situation.
Okay. I could maybe I could see it, but I mean, they got a new offensive coordinator, Dana Holgerson.
That ought to fix it.
There's a casino within 15 minutes of Lincoln.
There you
so
go.
That may work out.
Short commutes are one of the most important considerations when you move into any job, I feel.
There was a quote that I think the reporter was Mark Ennis, where they used to have the Big East clam bake or whatever it was, or the preseason thing that they would do, and Dana just got the job at West Virginia, and so Mark said that he's talking with Dana, and Mark says that he's like, hey, well, how's it going? How's everything going? And then Dana just looks at him and is like, they want me to buy a fucking house.
I remember those days.
Dana was like, no, man, I'm not buying a house. I am renting. I will just live.
Real estate market's how they get you.
I'll live in a van down by the river.
I was gonna say Dana's the original Jim Harbaugh. Like, I'm just gonna live in a trailer.
Just live in an RV.
Yeah.
Just give me a spot with good, septic.
It's got
hookups.
all the utility hookups. I got cable in there. I don't
cable. I got a satellite dish.
Second they make you sign some kind of a mortgage or whatever, it's hard to fake your death and get out of town. Miss you, Dana.
Oh man.
Speaking of getting out of town, Hawaii, Utah State.
That was just not not fair. This was going to be our first snow game. There was some flurries before the game, but no snow really during the game. Maybe some light snow. No accumulation on the field. But it feels kind of unfair that Hawaii had to play in the snow. I feel like Utah State called in a favor from Mother Nature, and Hawaii did not do well in this game.
Yeah, and by not well we mean Utah State 55, Hawaii 10. I'm sorry, Bose.
I just want to give you some stats from this game. So Spencer Petras was the starting quarterback for Utah State. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Perfectly balanced.
As
The-
all things should be.
The backup quarterback, Bryson Barnes, he went 2 for 2 for 2-yard touchdown passes.
That's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Like he threw 2 passes, 2-yard completion each time for a touchdown.
Out here celebrating Tuesday on Saturday.
That's what it seems. It's just twos were wild.
That's fantastic.
That's just, I saw the box score. I was like, what the hell?
It's just making the like slot machine ding
I was
noise.
like, what is this? This just okay. Twos are wild.
Okay. Rutgers at Maryland. Rutgers 31, Maryland 17. You know what that means? You know what it means? Bowl eligible Rutgers.
Yeah. Bowl eligible Rutgers.
Send the horse.
I mean, so someone evidently has asked for a UConn versus Rutgers Pinstripe Bowl, which immediately, yes. Also, that makes it easy for Rutgers to send the horse, rather.
Yes.
Send the horse.
They could just walk there.
RuCon.
Definitely. So somebody said that they wanted to do that. I wanted to just like this game wasn't necessarily close. Like Rutgers won it in kind of like dominating fashion over at Maryland, which is crazy. The one thing is that Maryland was wearing their uniforms. It was called Maryland Gold, and I want you to describe what color this Maryland Gold is.
I just want to say now that it sounds like a sketchy condiment.
Yes.
Or a sketchy condom. It really could be either.
In the truck stop. It's one of those you drop in like 3/4 and you twist the thing. That's what you get.
This is I'm a bad teammate yellow.
Maryland is dehydrated.
This is this is French's yellow mustard.
But this is like okay, so you see the picture, right?
Yeah.
But like I'm gonna send you the video, and I want you to look at the video of this uniform in action under the lights. So go ahead and do that.
Oh God.
Oh no! Now it looks like a highlighter. Ah.
Yes.
I kind of like it.
You would.
This looks like the don't tackle me uniform at an NFL practice. Were they hoping they could sneak through because they'd be like, oh, we can't tackle them. They're brightly colored. They might be poisonous like bees.
Whenever I'm playing the EA Sports 25 college football game, whenever I come up against Maryland, I always put them in these uniforms because these uniforms are in the game. So I've been seeing these uniforms for a little bit because they've had them for a little bit. But
do they look like highlighters in the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying like they're bad or anything. It's just that the terminology of gold, like that does not give me feelings of gold.
Yeah. That is yellow. This is also a really good example. So Maryland is like the flagship Under Armour school, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
So Maryland sometimes does a very like we have Oregon at home kind of thing. And the highlighter uniforms are extremely we have Oregon at home.
So Arthur, I do not have the game. I cannot play the game. What Maryland uniforms are available?
I mean, this is really the only one that looks crazy. Like everything else is like
so they don't have like the Fort McHenry Constitution on the helmet uniform.
No,
they don't have the flag unis anymore?
Everything else that they have in the game is like red, white, and like there's like a full black one. Like you see, like the pants are black in this one that they wore, but like a full black. But it's and various combinations of it. Honestly, like most of the alternate uniforms in the game are literally just like swapping around. Like, instead of the white pants, we'll wear the team color pants or something like that. Like there aren't that many like truly interesting alts in the game. So I'm always on the lookout whenever I'm playing. You know, I always like look through the menus and just to see like, hey, is there anything weird? Can we make this weird? The other one that I always go to, and you know, I've been playing as a Big Ten team recently. So the other one I go to is the Illinois uniform, the 100 Years throwback one.
Mm-hmm.
That one was good.
I don't care if it's road or home. Like I'll put on my white uniform just to let Illinois wear that when they're coming to play me.
That's very fair.
I have to admit, if I was the equipment manager at Maryland, they would always wear the flag uniforms. That would be the only thing that they wore, because the idea that your entire football team looks like everybody got in a knockdown drag out fight in a pile of jockeys' silks and emerged with whatever was stuck to them is fantastic. Those uniforms are perfect. They should always wear them.
Yes, Beth, you are correct.
Yeah.
The Maryland flag is so bad that it wraps back around to being good, and the University of Maryland should lean into that, both in terms of uniforming and also probably in terms of football at this point. Michigan State at Illinois. Illinois 38, Michigan State 16. So, hey, good for you, Illinois.
Yeah. Illinois, 7 wins. Well on the way to being Penn State's best win of the year. But I mean, do they still need to play Penn State, right? Or have they already played Penn State?
No, they played. They played earlier.
Yeah, they're on the way to being Penn State's best win of the year. Yes.
Yeah, the other one that could end up being Penn State's best win of the year that they still have to play is Minnesota.
And Minnesota beat Illinois, so Minnesota won the fake rivalry trophy I made up.
Look at that, Penn State. There's a chance you could trade up.
You trade up from the Illini to a Gopher.
I'm sorry. I just checked Penn State's schedule, and they usually end the season with Michigan State, but because we have Mega Big Ten, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so their rivalry game is Maryland.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Somewhere Joe Paterno is screaming.
I'm not going to say anything more on top of that. The only thing that I saw from this, hey,
I didn't say
Illinois,
where.
I know. That's why I'm not saying anything else. Just the only thing I saw from this Illinois-Michigan State game was a highlight of an Illinois fullback doing a dive on the goal line, like over the entire pile, and that was it. That's all I remember from this game.
I think that's all you need to see.
Yeah, it's just like leaping from the 2-yard line, fullback touchdown over the line. And I just imagine them going, wee, into the end zone. In my head, I know they're not doing that. But in my head, it's like, wee, it looks like so much fun.
If you are a college football player who has had the opportunity to dive over the pile and you have said wee while doing so, please sound off in the comments. We would like to interview you. I am offering you an opportunity to guest on this show right now.
Yes.
If you can prove that you did that.
Yeah. I've if you got any witnesses, maybe an offensive lineman heard you screaming, wee, as you jumped over them for the touchdown. Yeah, it's good. It'd be funny if they get stopped. It's like, wee. Oh.
Less funny for some of the members of this podcast. Baylor at West Virginia. Baylor 49, West Virginia 35. Before I let Beth go, I will say this. I was out and I was with folks who were keeping track of this game on their phone. And the first half of this game was bonkers. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh, this is going to be like 66-75 or some shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we check on it again in the third quarter and no one had scored.
Yeah, everybody left all their points in the last 5 minutes of the first half because it was close. And then the last 5 minutes of the first half, it was 5 touchdowns total. It went Baylor touchdown, West Virginia touchdown, Baylor touchdown, West Virginia touchdown as the clock expired to make it 35-28 at the half. Mm-hmm. Second half, a little bit calmer, little bit. The third quarter,
for the West Virginia offense, a lot calmer.
Yes, true. They only scored one more. But yeah, Baylor, they quietly got their stuff together a little bit this year, and they're bowl eligible now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's big of West Virginia to be everybody's get right game. That's a kindness to put out into the world. It's a rough place out there right now, and I think that's really cool. This team, it's much of the same that we've seen from West Virginia, where they'll play. They tend to play fairly soundly in the first half. They'll keep things close, and then it's like they just turn off the offense faucet. And the next time you'll see them is on their last major drive of the game when they will score more points. Unfortunately, the defense is, we'll call them generous.
There was a point in the game where I'm just like, isn't there somebody supposed to be there?
Oh,
Like, I was looking. I was like, there's normally like a safety right there, right? And then there wasn't. And so I was like, wait, why is there not a safety right there? Should be right there. There was not one right there.
Oh yeah.
The
The last game I was at, there were a couple of guys who were sitting sort of cat a corner behind me. And every time the opposing quarterback dropped back to pass and looked like they were really going to uncork it, all I heard from them was, "Welp." Every single time.
It just
They haven't even let go of the ball yet. Just, "Welp."
well, I mean, you can see, like, it's weird because when you're watching on TV, you don't get the all 22.
Right.
Like,
when you're actually there, you're like, "Oh no."
Like, oh no, like, oh God. But like, you're like, well, he's wide open. Just on the
Ball
game,
goes there.
I was watching. I was like, what? Where is? Like, I was like, they need to fire the? Oh, they already fired the defensive coordinator. Oh yeah.
It's been like this for 2 years. It's not getting it better.
I was like, oh God. Oh no.
Yeah, Pitt Girl, how did your team lose to this once? I really don't understand because it was the same thing.
Our offense was like so bad last year, though.
Oh, I know.
Like so bad. That's how.
Yeah, but maybe I will be spared a bowl game. That having been said, my family decided that it was time to blood the youngins this weekend. So out of my 6 nieces and nephews, 3 of them made their West Virginia debut this weekend going to games. 2 of my nieces went to the brawl, the basketball.
How did that go?
I mean, pretty much the same as the football game. And one of my nephews went to the football game for the first time, and they're like, and it's like, "Did you have a good time, buddy?" "Yeah, it was really fun. The team's not very good, but that's just how it goes with us." I'm like,
oh, he's doing the thing that Neil Brown said to do.
Yeah.
He had a good time and the weather was nice.
Yeah.
I've seen on social media West Virginia fans trying to organize everyone wearing brown to the next game because they want a brown out.
Oi.
But
just wear your real tree. I know you're gonna wear your real tree.
Yeah, wear the camo. It's nobody was.
Yeah, I could see Beth thinking.
They won't see
as
you
soon
there.
as you said this.
It's all right. You need the brown camo. You're perfect. The deer hunting camo should work.
It's true. And we are coming up very soon on deer season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is if you're gonna wear your real tree to the game, you got to make sure you descent it by Monday.
I mean, I'm just thinking of a whole stadium filled with UPS drivers.
See, you don't realize
What
like
can Brown
15
do
of
for
our
you?
listeners are like, "No, that's a really good point. If you're gonna wear it, like, you're gonna have to figure out descenting."
Just the entire, just bring Kevin James in and the entire cast of King of Queens. The entire West Virginia fan base is, my eyes are getting weary.
Mm-hmm.
My back is getting
I
tight.
have to say, when I opened up the show notes, because I couldn't watch this game, I was playing a musical while this game was happening, which was a mercy, to be honest. And I saw at the end of this, like, at the end of our notes, it just says, like, "to officially return for the 2025 season." I'm like, "Oh God, no. And then I realized it was Dave Aranda.
Yeah. Congratulations, Dave Aranda.
I mean, good for him. Like,
Yes.
honestly, I feel like with coaches right now, it's hard to evaluate because of how much change there's been in the landscape. Like, if you look back at the past few seasons, and, Dave Aranda, he was someone who had a lot of success initially when he came to Baylor and then has struggled in the period since then. So, to me, I'm not sure that he would really be the problem there because of how much change has happened, right? Like, so if you're Baylor, they're going to roll for him with at least one more year, but you have to figure out, like, hey, is this a coach issue or is this like, hey, we need to step up our NIL. We need to figure out how we're doing the new college football. Because if that's your problem, then switching coaches is not going to help you. And there are a lot of teams out there right now that have some level of coaching anxiety.
Mhm.
And I think at least for some of them, if you think that you have a good coach, if you think that it's like, yeah, like we just, for whatever reason, as college football has changed, we're struggling to get the players, then, maybe that's not the coach, right? Because like coaches, I feel like have less of an impact than they used to in that specific area.
So like when did the NIL thing take off? Was it like 2022?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I mean Dave went his first year as a coach was the COVID year. So he was 2-7 in his COVID year, which is ridiculous. Then he wins the Big 12 the year after, 12-2, wins the Sugar Bowl. And big win there. They beat Ole Miss in the Sugar. Next year, NIL happens, right? 6-7, they lose the Armed Forces Bowl in the frozen Armed Forces Bowl where Jordan was, where the flutes and instruments were freezing. It was Baylor versus Air Force, which, I mean, if you're going to play a freezing game, you do not want to play the triple option. I can understand that.
No.
They went 3-9 last year. And
we're going to hit you with a bag of hammers. We froze the bag.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Ouch. 3-9 last year. So, I mean, if there was a combo of like maybe some coordinating decisions, maybe you got it on that. But he's 6-4 this year. His overall record with the team now is 29-29. So, and then you add this to the conference realignment thing that just happened too. So there's been a lot of things that have happened for coaches, and to be an evaluator of if you're going to keep your coach or are you going to fire your coach. And then we have this pending settlement that's coming for like players, I guess, in the past that's forecasted to be, which I don't know how accurate it is, but it's going to be about 20 to 25 mil per team. Dave Aranda's buyout was about 17 or 18 mil. Does Baylor just have like 45 mil like in cash to deal with both of those? I don't know. And I mean, Davis kind of got it. I think he's adapted a bit to it. He's gotten to it a little bit better. Baylor seems to be in a line. Chip and Joanna's money, NIL, the Magnolia NIL is working out. The shiplap is flowing again.
Ren Baker, I know you're listening to this podcast right now. I want you to ignore everything that Commish just said. We definitely have enough money to fire Neil Brown. Don't you worry about it, baby.
Well, they did West Virginia did the smart thing. They extended Neil Brown this year and they lowered his buyout. So if they got to make a move, they've already kind of set it up after he won the Mayo Bowl. So
no, I think Arthur's point just very much reminds me of the situation with Pitt basketball after they moved to the AACC and everybody was like, what do we do with Jamie Dixon? Right? Where I don't really think that, was it time for Jamie to go? Maybe. Don't want to relitigate that. I think we can all agree that hiring Kevin Stallings was one of the stupidest decisions Pitt Athletics has made in a long time. But ultimately, and you can see that because he's done well at TCU, what was going on with that was more a function of the fact that Pitt had moved to the ACC and the competition was different. The recruiting grounds were different and all of that was different than it was really about him. Right. And so we're all sort of seeing that in various teams, in various conferences where the environment has changed to a degree, I think.
Well, and like firing the coach is it depends on the buyout and a whole lot of things, but firing the coach might be the easiest button to press, but like there's just a question of, to me, is like, is that going to fit? I mean, look, you look at Florida, right? Like, how many coaches has Florida gone through since Urban Meyer?
A lot.
You could say, like, if you look at them individually, like, you can talk like, oh, well, they didn't do this, and like that's why they didn't work. But like, at what point do you get to a point where it's like, okay, like we have to look at something other than the coach? Because I mean, you look at all these schools, like a lot of schools, when they hire a coach, they're going to be right back where they are in 3-4 years. So I mean, I can't say whether it's good or not to keep a coach, because here's the other thing you could do. You could keep a coach and not address any of the underlying things, anything else, and then you're still just going to have the same results.
Right.
But I mean, generally, I would say like you can go into a coach hiring and say like, yeah, we're going to hire a really good coach, and that's going to be the solution. And like maybe you do, but like that's not a process.
It's
everyone goes in and thinks that they can hire a good coach. And we've seen coaching hires that look great on paper that
Not
just
work
don't
out.
turn out,
Mhm.
Yeah. Hiring and firing is the like low-hanging fruit solution, I think. But anyway, Wake at North Carolina, UNC 31, Wake 24. Congratulations, UNC. You are somehow bowl eligible.
Yes. UNC Mac Brown, bowl eligible.
Back to the
Brown,
Mayo
yeah.
Bowl.
The Mac could go to the Mayo Bowl. He already went to the Mayo Bowl, but Shane
He was
Beamer
there
beat
last
him.
year.
Yeah, he's lost 2 Mayo Bowls, right? He lost to Shane Beamer.
He really does not want that Mayo.
He does
dust on
not
him.
want that Mayo. Mac. I love if it's Mac's like last game and he retires and him getting the Mayo dump on him.
Put him in that Ublekian prison.
Yeah, and I was originally skeptical because usually you have to be like above 6-6 to make the Mayo Bowl. It's a pretty good Mayo Bowl. But UNC, if we play the schedule game briefly, UNC's next 2 games are at BC and home versus NC State. They could get to 8-4.
I mean, that 2021 team was 6-6 going into the Mayo Bowl.
That's right.
Okay.
That was like South Carolina and North Carolina Mayo Bowl. They're both like 6-6, I think.
Yeah. The thing about the ACC's bowl ties is that like it's pretty loose. Like there are some conferences historically that have had like, oh, this is the game. And like for the ACC, like the only game that really is kind of above the others is the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And then everything else. So like I think the Pinstripe Bowl, the Mayo Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the Sun Bowl, the Holiday Bowl, like all of those bowls are just kind of pulled together. So you could get a team at the top of that area, but like, if there's like 5 different bowl games, like someone might end up with a team that's not that good. The other thing is like the Mayo Bowl, they usually pick like a local team for the ACC team. So they probably are going to pick one of those Carolina schools just because it's local, like that'll sell tickets. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see, I would be a little bit surprised to see North Carolina in the Mayo Bowl again, just because they did it last year. And like Duke is already bowl eligible. I'm not sure about NC State, but like they could be in the conversation.
The Duke Mayo Bowl.
Print the shirts.
Print
Done.
the shirts. You have a free idea, Duke's Mayo Bowl. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Syracuse at Cal. CUSE 33, Cal 25. You know what that means. Fran Brown took a shower.
Yeah. I just love the audio clip after the win. Syracuse kind of dominated this one. It was like 27-7. They were up like 33-17 with like a minute left, and Cal gets a touchdown and 2-point conversion. And Syracuse wins this. And let me see if I can get the tweet here with the audio. I have the video in there where the person on the CW tells Fran Brown to enjoy his shower after the game, and I'm trying to figure out if I can like share this real quick. I don't know if I can. I just have the video. I'm trying to get the tweet though. Hold on.
I'm just gonna drop an ad here.
Okay. Sounds good.
Forget one-size-fits-all diets. With Noom, you get a personalized weight loss plan that's tailored to your lifestyle. Have cravings? Food FOMO? Noom can help you lose weight while still enjoying your favorite foods. Noom's users love the flexible approach, blending psychology and biology to help you lose weight in a way that's sustainable for you. Plus, you can rest assured Noom's approach is grounded in science. They've published more than 30 peer-reviewed scientific articles describing their methods and effectiveness. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com.
It's just like I couldn't get the tweet of just that video to go.
All right, baby. Yeah, I'm about to get wild. I know that's winners get wild.
I can't
Enjoy your shower, all right, baby? Yeah, I'm about to get wild. I know that's winners get wild.
One more time. Here we go.
Enjoy your shower, all right, baby? Yeah, I'm about to get wild. I know that's winners get wild.
I love it so much.
That's perfect.
It's so great. It's so great. When they get to the locker room, the Syracuse official account there's a player like holding up like a bottle of like, body wash. He just like for the coach, he's just holding up the body wash. Just like, yeah. He doesn't have to have a cross-country flight back to Syracuse from Berkeley, sticking up the plane. Extra motivation for the CUSE players.
That's so good.
Windows get washed.
Windows get washed. Playing that on loop as I take my car through the car wash.
That's right. They tell your car. Windows get washed.
Honestly, like, I want to see Syracuse maybe at home. Like, they should have some sort of thing where, like, they win and there's just, like, foam on the field. Like, just all sorts of. I mean, they're in a dome, right? Like, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just like dumping buckets down from the rafters.
Listen, the one time I was in the dome covering a Pitt game, I saw Pat Narduzzi was given like the post game press conference in a hallway for some reason, and like mid press conference he like moved over because like there was a drip. So I believe that the dome is capable of showering people,
Carrier Dome says winners get washed.
Winners get washed. That's right.
So this game is never going to be our game of the week because it's got two brand name teams in it. But I think we can all agree that LSU Florida is sort of a spiritual game of the week.
It is.
Every time it occurs.
I mean, Jordan asked me like why this was so high. I was like, did you not see what happened?
And then also what happened.
And then what happened? Like these two teams get together. It is so incredibly ridiculous. I think what took Florida and LSU to like heights of stupidity and ridiculousness that I mean they played some crazy games before, but like the rivalry between both of them was them arguing over who's tougher to deal with a hurricane.
Yes.
When they had that has brought in that ratcheted up the ridiculousness of it. Like, I mean, yeah, there was the Jacob Hester game in like 2007 where he picked up like every fourth down known to man. Incredible. Like there is the Tebow jump pass game when everybody hates. There's the 2016 game where Darius Geis ran the wrong way. There is the stupid the Darius Geis running the wrong way thing was associated with the stupid hurricane thing. There's the throwing of the shoe. There's like kicking the field goal in the fog. There is, just ridiculous in this game. And then me, positing the fact that the Scab Mike Tiger was a spy, and it worked.
Scab Mike is an inside job.
Scab Mike was an inside job. The Tiger was a spy. The Tiger from Florida, sent by the Ragin' Cajun graduate governor of Louisiana to help the former Ragin' Cajun coach Billy Napier. It was all an inside job, and the Florida Gators shut down LSU in the second half. I think they only had 3 points in the second half. So Scab Mike's information helped the Gators shut down LSU.
Final
that Tiger's a traitor.
That's right. Well, the Tiger's from Florida, so
it's a Florida Tiger.
It's a Florida Tiger. That's right. The Cajuns, they coming. They trying to just like undercut the Tigers.
I have been watching the GIF that I put in the Discord for about the last 6 minutes of Brian Kelly pounding the table. And I have to say that I'm mesmerized by the water bottle in the bottom left-hand corner. Mm-hmm. It's hard to loop a GIF perfectly, but they've really done it.
That's very good.
Can you imagine Brian Kelly doing water bottle tricks on TikTok?
What shade of purple do we think he would be?
Angry bottle flips, like his anger, and then the bottle flips perfectly.
Oh yeah. He could probably get good enough at that.
So on my TikTok, I have posted one TikTok ever, and I follow no one. I would follow Brian Kelly doing water bottle tricks. That would be the one follow that I would have on TikTok.
There was okay. So that Florida GIF that they posted, I posted the picture of that to Blue Sky, and I just want to say that I've been using the alt text on those, and Basically, I really enjoyed what I wrote for the alt text on this because Blue Sky doesn't get like I can't like posted the thing else. It just says Florida says for Brian Kelly to not damage their tables because Brian Kelly banged a table which made a water bottle fly up when LSU lost to USC in the first game this year in Las Vegas.
That's very descriptive.
I was like, yep. I mean, I'm getting better at this alt text thing. I type so much. I really enjoyed it.
Commish, that's evocative as fuck. Good job.
I am.
You know what else is evocative as fuck? The phrase evocative as fuck.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the next game, North Texas UTSA.
Yeah, North Texas.
I thought that was a segue to ads.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to be like, you know what else is evocative as fuck? The
Home
varsity
field
app
apparel.
or something like.
Giving us money.
Yeah, let's do North Texas UTSA and then we'll put the ads in.
Sure.
North Texas at UTSA. The only note I have there is UTSA a lot, North Texas less.
That's all I was able to put in. I wasn't able to elaborate, but UTSA.
I feel like it gets it done though.
Yeah, that says UTSA, what it needs to say.
I'm just gonna say how many yards they had. They had a lot. And North Texas fired their defensive coordinator after this game.
Oh,
Imagine that.
So UTSA on Friday, UTSA won 48-27. The team stats, UTSA had 681 total yards. They had 379 yards passing, right? They had 302 yards rushing, and they were one of the worst rushing teams in the nation.
Yep, lean into that past tense. They were.
Not anymore. Big, relatively pretty, 21,000 in the Alamo Dome. UTSA had the ball for 40 minutes in this game.
Whew,
boy.
The funny thing is that they just kept the ball and they were running the ball so well. They ran the ball 48 times. But like North Texas could score so fast. But if North Texas didn't score, they went like 3 and out super fast. And then like UTSA was like, fine, we're going to go back down and score. It was these two teams. They're both now 5-5. They both need one more for bowl eligibility. North Texas was 5-1, yep. And they have fallen to 5-5, like our pals at Nebraska.
Well, I mean, okay, but if you look at North Texas, right? They started out 5-1. Well, so first they went 3-1 out of conference, and then they won their first 2 conference games. Those first 2 conference games were home against Tulsa and at FAU. The big turn for North Texas has been that the subsequent games were at Memphis, home against Tulane, home against Army, and at UTSA. So I guess
they're home against the Pirates. And they're away against Temple.
Yep, they still get to play Temple, who it was announced by the vice president / yada yada yada. They fired their coach.
So what I'm hearing is fired coach bump for Win Temple.
Ooh.
But Temple has a game before this. So who do they play? Oh, they play UTSA.
Yeah, UTSA also
on Friday
that one to get
in San Antonio. I may need to go to this one.
So right now they're in the middle of like the bird gauntlet.
The bird gauntlet.
Yeah.
All the owls and birds.
Birds.
That's just the American.
It's kind of the American. The American has a bunch of like nautical themed teams. A lot of birds. It's ridiculous.
Birds and ships.
Birds and
so the Valence shifts.
I mean, you have what? So you have the Green Wave, you have the Navy, you have the Pirates.
Becca just shrieked.
You have the Golden Hurricane. That's 4 like nautical themed things. You have 3.
Well,
you have 3 owls.
The Golden Hurricane's not really nautical.
They were supposed to be called the Golden Tornadoes, but Georgia Tech at the time was called the Golden Tornadoes, so they were just like, fine, we'll just call ourselves a Hurricane instead, and it stuck. Georgia Tech changed their mind many more times, but yes.
Home field apparel. No, seriously. So ad reads.
Sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, shout out to our friends at the Varsity app. We love the College Football Blitz. It is a great way to keep track of all of the things when you are not able to keep track of all of the things by sitting on your couch and watching your quad box. You get a little audio quad box right in your earbuds or
Awesome.
in your car speakers or whatever, where you can keep track of all the games. So we do tweet and Blue Sky post and all of those things about that. And if you want a koozie, take a picture of yourself listening to the Blitz and reply to us, and you have a pretty good chance of receiving one. So
Okay.
get on that.
To reply to the pinned tweet that we have there, and you can get definitely get a koozie. I may need to send Hartzell more to send more out to us, but hopefully.
Yeah, we are moving in abundance of koozies. Please get one.
Force
Get them while
us
they're
to
hot.
send more koozies.
Yes.
Yes. Check out our link tree and our Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky and all the places where we are for various discounts. I am not Jordan, so Pitt Girl, do not read this part aloud. Plug Blue Sky. Blue Sky's great. Join us. It's fun.
It's fun. We're
The
kind
links there actually work.
the links work. I mean, when we post our Substack there, like it's not nerfed to hell.
Yeah, you
by
can
that,
see the link and you can read it.
you can take a link and it fully populates. Like we actually can post our YouTube stuff there, and you could watch like the YouTube video inside the Blue Sky. Like you don't have to like link it out of there, or like if we post an Instagram thing there, you could actually do that too. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's nice to not have any things as a creator, which is weird to call ourselves creators. It's strange.
As a poster.
As a professional poster. Well, not really, but
One
no,
of your
it's fun.
professions is as a poster. So
Blue Sky is great. The only thing that I hate about it is we've been trying to get the ULM mention gift over there, and we can't get it to load. Like we've tried like 900 times. So Blue Sky, if you're listening, I want the damn ULM mention gift over there. For God's sake.
Putting in a bug report to the Blue Sky devs. Hey, this one gift doesn't
Hey.
work, but it's really important.
It is very important for us, which I mean, I think we're getting close to 25,000 followers. There's a lot of sports internet folks that are just kind of isolated over there now because I mean the Twitter thing is just been we're still gonna post there. It's fine.
Mhm.
It's just that there's a bunch of junk associated with it. Like you won't see bots or random t-shirt ads every like fourth tweet or third tweet or whatever. It's just a nice clean experience and it's a lot of fun.
My pics are in bio.
Yeah, the pics are not in bio on Blue Sky. The horniness is in the walls though. So yes, it's there. Yeah. Beware.
It is there. Just be aware of that. It's an important part of the internet ecosystem, to be honest with you.
True.
So we got that. We got the Patreon and the Discord, which we talked about a little bit when we were plugging Blue Sky. But if you're following us on Blue Sky and we post a link to something, you can click the link, and sometimes it'll send you to a thing where you can like buy us a cup of coffee, and then we send you a newsletter, and also you can hang out in the Discord and stuff. We like it when you click the link for the Substack and stuff. It helps us go to games.
Yes.
So you can also chat with us in our Discord and make suggestions, help us do research, all that good stuff. We've got podcasts behind the paywall. So, check us out if you want. Secret podcasts. So if you want to listen to those, check it out. And then we also have the merch store. Commish, do you have an update on the little stand-up guys? Are we out of stand-up guys yet?
We have 27.
Get them while they're hot, folks. They're going.
You have to order it before December to get it before Christmas. So they will start shipping in December, but you need to place your order before December to get it before Christmas. So if you want them, there's 27 left. They're awesome. It's my buddy at my work at home desk. Every time I'm having a bad day, I just look over and I just smile. It just makes me smile. And I think to myself, yes, haha, yes. And he's beveled. Mm-hmm. Of course you want the beveledness.
We have a YouTube, we have an Instagram, we have a Twitch that we may start using again, probably in the off season, if I had to guess.
More off season stuff. It's been very difficult with Maction.
Yeah.
Like I think there was like a downtime at one point. I was like, maybe I could fire the Twitch up, and then like the 2-year-old woke up, and I was like, well, damn it.
Yeah.
Part of me is like the season's almost over, so we're about to be in the off season. But then I remember that because of the playoff and everything else, It's no.
No, there's so much more season.
There's so much more.
And because of the way that the calendar is this year too, I feel like all the bowl games are on the wrong, and it's like it's the playoff and just the way, like, because Christmas is on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and so like all the bowl games are on weird days, and it's just going to be a whole thing. So stay tuned for all of that. Shout out to our friends at Message Board Geniuses. They go the places where we dare not tread, like the Florida, like tiger droppings actually is probably the place that we really don't want to tread this week.
We're not looking into what a brownout means for
we're not,
West Virginia fans.
No.
Nor should you.
No. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, Sickos and Home Field Apparel. If you somehow have not already acquired Home Field Apparel, and I see 2 Home Field shirts on the show tonight. We got the Thick Six shirt, and we got NIU Swing Your Axe Lumberjacks represented tonight. If you do not already have the softest, comfiest, most well-designed collegiate apparel in your life, you can go to homefieldapparel.com and buy something and then put in the discount code yes, ha ha ha, yes, that's 3 ha's for 15% off. We do also have a very special Sickos hat showcase. This discount code works for everybody. We got a whole bunch of hats that we worked with Home Field with to feature various weeks. Those are 25% off with the code yes, hat, yes, that's 2 hats. If you would like 2 or more hats or 1 hat, you can get however many hats you want with that code. So, check it out. We got the good stuff. Hopping back in, I have to scroll up. Hopping back in, we have Wyoming at Colorado State on Friday. Colorado State 24, Wyoming 10. The bronze boot goes to Fort Collins for the first time since 2018. And is anybody not looking at the show notes? Would anyone like to guess who the head coach was then?
I wrote the show notes, so I know.
I was looking at the show notes.
Okay, that's fine. Listener, if you have taken that time to guess.
I'm sorry that I didn't lie for comedy.
That's fine. No, listener, I've given you this time to guess with then. Your answer is Mike Bobo.
Run the dang ball, Bobo.
He was indeed the coach there.
That's right.
He was.
For a while. Shout out to I love the bronze boot. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Great game. Look at Texas's schedule. Look at Texas's schedule. We can do a little horns downing. The team that Texas has beaten with the most wins is Colorado State, who's 7-3.
Horns down.
Yeah. So
we're gonna pretend Jordan played the music here.
Yeah, Jordan played the music.
I can hear it in my head. It's you say horns down, and then I just hear the mooing.
Yeah, the team that has the most wins that Texas has beaten was their 52-0 win in the first. Yeah, that's it. Colorado State.
I mean, that's more wins than most of the teams that Penn State has beaten. So
Same.
Also true.
It's Colorado State and Illinois.
We talk about
load-bearing quality wins.
That's right. Bertram Bielema.
UCLA at Washington Friday. Yes. Washington 31, UCLA 19. This was the Warcraft game.
Warcraft game.
That's right. There was like Warcraft games. There was like a lady, like Arya something, whatever. One of our Patreon folks was actually at the game, and one of his friends joined him. He didn't like football, but big Warcraft fan, but he didn't even know it was a Warcraft game. So it worked out. This game was hilariousness because like UCLA was down by like 2 possessions, but they had the most hilarious like do nothing drives to try to catch up. Like to just like Garbers would scramble for like 20-30 minutes in the pocket, like running around for his life. And then it'd be like, oh, pass incomplete, or like, oh, 4-yard gain. Like it just like nothing big was there. It was ridiculous. But the Huskies bowl eligible.
All right.
Jed Fish.
The fish tank. The fish bowl, perhaps.
It's fish
bowl.
Yeah.
Fish bowl. Fish bowl.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm just going to get into Warcraft and level up my fishing. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. Do it.
Washington State at New Mexico. Lobos 38, Wazoo 35. What?
Yeah, this was a great game. I love this one so much. So we got a shout out from Petros because
Hell
he
yeah.
used the nickname that we gave John Mateer. John the Engineer Mateer. Mateer the Engineer was engineered a first half lead for the Cougs. The Cougs were up 28-14 at halftime. All hope kind of lost for the Lobos. But Devin Dampier brings the Lobos back and gets them a lead 31-28. Mateer engineers a drive to give the Cougs a lead with 3 minutes back. But then Dampier basically almost single-handedly wheels the Lobos into the end zone with 21 seconds remaining to give them the 38-35 victory for Bronco Mendenhall's Lobos. They started 0-4. They are now 5-6. Lobos are 5-6, and all they have to do is beat Hawaii, and they are bowl eligible. That's it.
Go.
That's
Let's
it.
go.
Colorado State had this situation last year, and all they had to do was beat Hawaii, and they were bowl eligible. Hawaii won. So I don't know if the Lobos are going to do that, but don't be automatically giving the Lobos a victory. But shout out to Albuquerque. They rushed the field, their first ranked victory since 2003.
Hell yeah. Congratulations, Lobos. That's awesome.
Ow.
I think somebody said there's sombreros on the field. It was probably Petros.
ECU at Tulsa. This was a Thursday night banger. I caught the end of this one. Tulsa really tried here. Like, this game was really surprisingly zesty, which is what you want out of your Thursday night games. I think.
Was so good. I mean, just like the home team seemed to be putting up a lot of fights on these Thursday games even though they're not supposed to, really be in one. But yeah, East Carolina pulled it off at the end, won 38-31. East Carolina is now bowl eligible. They fired their coach, and they're now bowl eligible.
See, it works.
They won 4 in a row. They were 2-4, fired their coach, 4 in a row.
So what I'm hearing here is that there's a possibility of 5-win Temple.
I mean, maybe.
Ooh. You
We
get to
keep
fire your
upping
coach bounce.
We keep up.
It works.
The owl,
We can dream. I
We
can
can.
dream. UAB at Memphis. Was Memphis messing around a little bit here?
A
I feel like I
little
saw
bit.
that go by on the
And then at
ticker.
the end, it was 53-18, and then there was a fight when they made it 53-18. The battle for the bones, which is, as Holly Anderson said on the Fullcast After Dark, the trophy, the battle for the bones, went missing when the rivalry went dormant. But then they found it again. I don't know where it went, but it's back.
I feel like as rivalry trophies go, it's a pretty big one. That's pretty hard to lose, I feel like.
I think it's 100 pounds, and it's just like a bronze rack of ribs. And somebody's like, well, those look really dry. I'm like, bitch, it's bronze ribs. I mean, do you want them to be sauced? I mean, it's a dry rub.
I do think that they should put sauce on the trophy every year.
Okay.
And then let the winning team lick it off.
And it can just a question of which sauce are you going to use?
I mean, you
Using
use
the-
the Memphis sauce, or is it the Alabama white sauce? Okay.
Man, that shit's cursed.
Okay. I don't know.
Alabama white sauce is such a cursed concept.
I've never-
We don't have time to litigate it. I just want
I've
to
never
put that
had
out
it.
there.
I've never had it. I will try it, but I've never had it.
I'm
Yeah.
Googling this.
It has mayo in it. You can't have it.
You can't have it.
I'm too young to have been to all those Birmingham Bowls that Pitt went to.
Why are you making murder sauce? Bad Alabama.
Thank you.
Go lay down.
Kansas at BYU. This is a game. I went to bed at halftime of this game, so I will just let Commish go because Commish nailed this one. Kansas 17, BYU 13.
COMMISHSTRADAMUS is back, baby.
Ooh.
Ooh. I don't know. I felt this one coming. I don't think I've really made any prognostications at all this year, but I was like, Kansas is beating BYU. This is the week where BYU's like magic falls out because they have the big game coming up next week with Arizona State, and this is the one where it's the night game, and you could kind of feel the energy in Provo was off from the beginning, and Kansas went down and scored a touchdown. It's 7-0, and they're all like the energy in the stadium was just very nervous, and it didn't feel right for BYU. Cosmo even got injured when he
Oh,
tried to
no.
flip over a golf cart. He got clipped by the golf cart. Like he didn't. The golf cart, it wasn't timed, and he flipped over it, but like he couldn't get the full like handspring on the top of the golf cart.
Do you
when he
think it
did the
hurt the
flip.
golf cart?
Probably.
Because
I
I
think
want to know
Cosmo's okay.
I want to know what that insurance claim is like.
Again, well, I mean, it's comprehensive because that's an animal hitting your golf cart.
Is it?
So,
I mean, we've learned this week that someone in a costume damaging a vehicle can be considered insurance fraud. So.
I mean, yeah, somebody dressed up in a bear costume, and I it's kind of part of my job that I really love the fraud aspect when people try to get one over on the insurance company, which is because it's hilarious, and I'm like, really?
An
What
identified
I'm hearing
flying
here
object.
is do crimes.
The thing that I never can figure this out with insurance fraud is like, okay, like you fraudulently damage your car or your house or something, you file the insurance claim, but like then you still have to like fix your car or house, right? Like, the math doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, this is it basically, once that happened at halftime, it was kind of over. And the funniest thing for me is that how Kansas got the lead is like the most sickos way that they could possibly do this. It was like 4th down for Kansas. They decided to pooch punt with Jalen Daniels. The pooch punt hits the helmet of a BYU player. And then Kansas recovers on like the 2-yard line and they get a touchdown. They go up 17-13 and they're able to hang on to win.
Hell yeah.
It just is perfect. The COMMISHSTRADAMUS, like sicko nature of this game. Great. Enjoyable. Sorry, BYU fan. Mike, I apologize, but I felt it coming. And, BYU was doing a lot of fucking around. And unfortunately, this week they found out.
Eventually, you're going to find out.
Yep.
I do want to take this moment to appreciate a BYU fan that I saw in the crowd before I went to bed last night, who was wearing a shirt that said Cougars in arched font, and then it said, say, air quotes, no to drugs. If you are a BYU fan and you know where I can get one of those, please let me know.
I want to just do the sound audio when Cosmo got hit by the by the golf cart.
Oh yes, please.
So
do.
let me share that real quick. Hold on.
Oh no.
It hits his head.
Definitely a little bit of a bad omen there.
The crowd just being like, yo.
I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. Disaster.
Oh no, disaster.
What a bad idea.
All right, next game. Oregon
right.
State at Air Force. Air Force won 28-0. Air Force had the longest scoring drive of the week. They had 8 minutes, 40 seconds, 15 plays, 74 yards, and a fumble. The Beavs didn't do anything. They lost 28-0. They got blanked.
Yep. I think that's all we need to say about that one.
Beavs blanked.
Tulane at Navy. Congratulations, John Summerall. You will be coaching in a conference title game for the 3rd consecutive season, which is also your 3rd consecutive season coaching in FBS.
That's right.
So like,
yes. I got to say that Navy was taking on water. I got to do a bunch of nautical puns. I was like, oh no, the Navy has capsized. There's just, again, Tulane was incredibly consistent. As soon as they went, they forced Navy to go like really short drives in the beginning. Like maybe Navy got like 1 first down in their first 2 drives. I was like, okay. I did not expect Tulane to blank Navy, like shut them out. But it was a great performance. At one point, like Tulane was up 28-0, and they had scored a touchdown in each quarter, and Navy had nothing in each quarter. And then like Tulane got a fumble, and then they scored another one to ruin that. But they won 35-0. Green Wave clinched a bid in the American title game versus the Army. So like Tulane, it's just weird. Like it's just like I really enjoy Tulane, and I kind of feel like, it's messed up that they're taking down the armed forces. And I'm like,
I just want to take a second to shout out Tulane's social media people who made a really good graphic of the angry wave over the state of Maryland. And it looks like the wave is just really mad about the existence of Delaware, which same.
They know.
Yeah, they know. USF at Charlotte.
I it was close. Like Charlotte was up, and then all of a sudden USF like beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds about right.
Yep.
San Diego State UNLV.
UNLV won this one. 41-20. That was the nightcap, the last game of the season. We got a shout out on CBS SN. They're like, we know the sickos are still watching this. So I was like, yeah, I am. And San Diego State they dropped the touchdown pass to make it like a 14 like point game because the spread was 20.5 and they dropped it. And then so like some people were like furious that they dropped it, and then other people were like, oh, I had UNLV minus 21. And so like everybody was, of course, the Vegas game, everybody staying up late to like watch a 20.5 point spread. But yeah, UNLV, solid victory. San Diego State, they're improving. They're just not there yet.
Yeah. Great teams cover. Mizzou at South Carolina. This game is another one that I was sort of keeping an eye on while I was out doing other things. And it seemed like it was as stupid as expected, which is good.
It was great. It was so stupid and a lot of fun. Really, South Carolina pulls off the victory at the last moment. Like Mizzou goes up late, and you're thinking like, oh no, like Mizzou goes up 30-27 with like a minute 10 left, and then South Carolina goes down in like 40 seconds, and they take the lead 34-30 at the end. It was just ridiculousness after ridiculousness in the fourth quarter. A lot of flurries of points, and Gamecocks 7-3, Mizzou 7-3. Both of these teams were like ranked 22 and 23, like right next to each other. Mizzou's out now, but South Carolina remains in with the victory. Shout out to Shane Beamer.
Yeah.
Shout out to this game because it just one of the stupid things that I keep track of during years are the number of articles that are X thing that happened in a game triggered something on a seismograph or triggered something on the Richter scale.
Sorry.
And this one hit several of those on that on the late Rocket Sanders touchdown.
Yeah, the late touchdown for Rocket Sanders, there was a seismograph. There was something that detected that like basically the ground moving when that touchdown scored. I remember the one that happened in, I think, LSU 1986 when they beat Auburn, which is just famous that Tiger Stadium went nuts for a game, that it registered on the seismograph there. And so this is your South Carolina version of that, which is, and they get I think it's the Governor's Cup, or is it the Mayor's Cup? The Columbia versus Columbia trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to the Gamecocks. They've been fun. They've been a lot of fun this year.
College football is better when South Carolina is fun.
I like when South Carolina is bitey and feisty. They're a lot of fun. Like just to randomly like get somebody. It's fun when they're like this. Yes, I enjoy it.
Yep. Cincinnati at Iowa State. That one ended up being Iowa State 34, Cincinnati 17. So
what I said, I was like, Iowa State fans are gonna hate this game for the first 3 quarters, and it was tied. And I was like, in the fourth quarter, they're gonna enjoy it, and they pulled away in the fourth quarter and won it 34-17. So again, kind of accurate.
Scott Satterfield football, everybody.
That's right. Shout out to the Iowa State. They're like, oh my God, the season's over. How dare Skyline Chili do this to us? And then the Clones were able to pull it away. And good win for Iowa State because they had lost 2 in a row. But big win for them in the Big 12 picture too.
Coastal Carolina at Marshall. Marshall allegedly hit the pillars of the Sickos in this 31-19 win.
That's right.
They gave up a safety, a fumble, an interception, missed a field goal, blocked a field goal, and returned it for a touchdown.
Yes.
They hit for the Sickos cycle.
They hit the Sickos cycle. Yeah, Marshall did that in this game. It was nuts. Like somebody sent me a DM on our Instagram. Was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that like Marshall did hit like all the Sickos pillars. And I was like, okay. So I read this morning because, I can't really keep up. Like, I got Twitter, I got Blue Sky, and I try to post stuff to Instagram throughout the whole day. And I can't keep up. And I looked and I was like, holy shit. Like, Marshall did all of this. Like, it was ridiculous. So, shout out to Marshall. And Marshall is bowl eligible.
Hell yeah.
They didn't hit everything because there was no rouge. But next time Marshall will figure it out.
I'm going to need you to fumble out of the back of the end zone also.
Marshall was already bowl eligible. I apologize. That's their 7th win now.
All right.
Rub it in.
Sorry. They beat ULM too. I'm mad about it.
That's fair.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
That's fair. FIU at Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State wins late. It was back and forth, and then Jack State wins it late. So shout out to Rich Rod holding off the FIU Panthers.
Hell yeah. Sam Houston at Kennesaw State. Sam Houston 23, Kennesaw State 17 in overtime.
Yeah, Kennesaw State fired their coach. Their coach was outside this game cheering on their players. So he was still outside the game, like cheering on the players as they were walking.
Did he have a boombox? I want him to have had a boombox.
Like John Cusack?
Yes.
Kennesaw, give him his job back. Why did you do this?
Was he holding the boombox and like In Your Eyes?
I think so.
Was that the song?
Yes.
From the
yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I mean, so like when you get fired in like a regular job, right? Like not a coaching football job, right? Like you get like escorted out of the building. They're like, hey, like you can't.
Cardboard
and actually, I remember, wasn't it like the Jets where like they escorted their coach out of the building after firing
Robert
him?
Saleh. Yes.
But yeah, like can you not just like buy a ticket as like a paying?
Yeah, he was just outside, like I don't know if it's called the Owl Walk or whatever, the Kennesaw State Crawl or whatever they walk in the players. He was out there cheering the players on in the parking lot and whatnot. So the former coach. So I mean, he was the only coach of the program. They suffered a lot of like transfer portal people. They lost a lot of starters. They put up a great fight against Sam Houston. They took them to OT. They lost in OT. Sam Houston again. I think Sam Houston has 8 wins, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Houston, do you have 8 wins? You do. You're 8-2, Sam Houston. Big win. Kennesaw State had the longest scoring drive of the week, 10 minutes and 27 seconds. BYU had the second longest scoring drive of the week, 10 minutes and 26 seconds.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
Okay.
SMU beats Boston College. It was close for a bit, but like SMU was able to pull away in the second half. Let's talk about Louisville at Stanford, and I kind of want to give Jeff Brom a little bit of a little clock commentary here. Okay. You want to talk about this, Arthur?
That to me, that is not the big story here.
Okay.
Clock
like
lieutenant.
there were a few things where it's like, okay, like you could have played that differently, but I get what they were trying to do. So basically, Louisville had a 35-21 lead.
Yes.
Stanford had scored a touchdown, but with less than a minute to go, Louisville was still up by a touchdown. Stanford was actually facing a 4th and 1 where they ended up taking a shot to the end zone, completes the pass, ties the game up with the extra point. And at that point, you're like, okay, there's still, I think, 50 seconds left. And 45, now it's going to be Louisville's ball. And they're going to have enough time. I think they had like a timeout or two. They can go down the field. They can get into field goal range. And they can, they can still win this, right? And actually, I think the first play of the drive, they do get a nice completion. They get down to about midfield.
Yeah.
And
Louisville's 42.
Then the drive kind of stalls out, right? Like the clock's ticking, so they spike the ball, right after getting the first down so that they can, just kill the clock. It ends up, they get to 4th down. And
so they get I got the play-by-play log here. So just
no. I know the play-by-play. So here's the thing about this game. I can tell when because I've heard other people talking about this game. I can tell who is just looking at the play-by-play and who actually saw this, because like you can look at the play-by-play and it doesn't capture how bad it was for Louisville. So I think it was 3rd down. They attempt there's like a drop pass that probably, like the receiver probably would have been able to get the first down, get them reasonably close to field goal range. But ultimately they're facing 4th down. They decide to go for it. There's only, I believe, 11 seconds left. I believe just over midfield. I want to say they're at like the 45 of Stanford. And so it's kind of like, okay, 11 seconds. If we get the first down here, we're in position to kick the game-winning field goal. If we don't, like, yes, Stanford will get the ball, but they will have only a few seconds left, probably a time for a Hail Mary. We're willing to take that risk because we think the upside is there to get in position for the game winner. Honestly, I get it. I support it. You know, you could have played it more conservatively, but they didn't. And I don't think it was like a bad decision. It was just an aggressive one. So they don't get it. Stanford has the ball on the 45-yard line, their own 45-yard line, with 5 seconds left. So you're saying
4 seconds.
5 seconds. What can you do in 5 seconds, right?
A lot of things, actually.
Well, so you could just throw the Hail Mary right then and there, or you could try to run a 4-second play, and that's what they do. So they throw the ball over to the receiver, you know, right on the sideline, and he gets 1 yard.
He does.
Before he's then stepping out of bounds, making sure there's still a second on the clock. So he's like fully stepped out of bounds. And for whatever reason, the Louisville defender will not let go of his leg.
Nope.
Right? Because like the Louisville defender initially is, I guess, trying to, you know, make the tackle, force him out of bounds or whatever. But like he's stepped out now. And you get to the point where like he's still holding on to his leg. The Stanford receiver is like trying to kick his leg free. The Louisville defender is still holding on to it. And that's what draws the 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. Like, I want to be very clear because I've heard a lot of people talk about.
Dumb. I didn't realize
I've heard
it
a
was
lot of
that
people
stupid.
talk about this penalty, and it's
But
like,
wait,
no, like
there's
you
more.
have to see the exact penalty because like there's.
I posted the
there's
video in
two-
the chat. It's the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
like
like-
rundown of everything.
Go watch this. But like,
Yeah.
to me, there's kind of two kinds of football penalties. One, there's like you were doing some football stuff, and like maybe you were like football, you tried too hard, right? Like you went above and beyond. You know, maybe like you were in a bad spot, right? Like if someone commits like defensive pass interference, for example, it's like, yeah, that's a penalty, but also like that's still like kind of a football play, right? Like you're doing that in a football context.
You were only supposed to give 110% and you gave 111, and that was too many percents.
Too many
Right,
percentage.
right. I mean, I'm telling you, this is like one of the most inexplicable. I mean, like it's not something you can argue being a penalty. Like it's very
I'm
like,
sorry,
yeah,
I
like
just
that's
got
a
to him
penalty.
hanging onto his leg.
Yeah, it's kind of like
I don't know why. It's inexplicable.
it's kind of like my kiddo. Like, you know, I'm trying to leave the room or go use the restroom or something, and like my kiddo just won't let go of my leg. I'm like, just let me walk, please. And that's what it feels like there. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and unsportsmanlike conduct is maybe the penalty that goes between these the most, right? Because there are some penalties like if you have like a procedure penalty, like delay of game, illegal formation, we'll get to those in a couple games when we talk about one. But like when you have those, it's like, okay, like there isn't like there's no situation where it's like, oh, we were just trying too hard and that's why we couldn't get lined up. But like like unsportsmanlike conduct, it could be anything from like, well, like a call that we're like, oh, like that's a bad call, or like the refs don't like fun, to, I mean, something like this.
You threw a shoe. You
Yeah.
pretended to piss like a dog.
Yeah.
You hug onto a dude's leg like you're a toddler.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
of the above.
that's what this was. So Stanford, they're lined up. They have 1 second left on the clock. Now they're 15 yards closer. So instead of 2nd and 9 at their own 46, which would be a Hail Mary, instead they are at, I believe,
Louisville's 39.
Louisville 41.
39.
The 39. That's right.
It'd
The
be a
Louisville
50
39.
It's gonna be a 57-yard field goal attempt.
Yeah, which is longer than the Stanford kicker had ever kicked in his career.
Yes.
And the other thing, the funny thing to me was on the broadcast, the color commentator is bringing up Louisville's kick blocking stats, and Louisville is apparently like a good kick blocking team. It's like, oh, they've blocked a number of kicks this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that, you know, especially a field goal this long, you might be kicking it at a lower launch angle to try to get the distance. Like that could really be a factor. Like, watch out for Louisville's
Could be.
rush here. And Louisville, a player, I mean, he just jumps off sides. Like it was one of those where it's like you jump off sides and then you're unabated into the backfield, so they blow the play dead rather than letting the play continue and flagging it afterwards. So that puts Stanford 5 yards closer.
It's now a 52-yard field goal.
They kick that 52-yard field goal. It goes through the uprights. It would not have been good from 57.
No.
You could, maybe the kicker like tries to put more on it from 57, but like that specific kick, the arc, like it was only a few feet above the crossbar.
And Stanford wins the game. They rush the field. Stanford tree tweeting while rushing the field. And basically the Stanford tree, the person in the tree, just rushing the field and still had time to say "fuck Cal." So
hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean the one thing where I can't quite put this up with like the Miami game last year against Georgia Tech where they didn't take a knee is that this was a tie game, so at least Louisville didn't go from like an almost certain win to a loss. They simply went from like almost certain overtime to a loss.
Yeah. I also think there's a distinction between games that get blown because a player does something stupid and games that get blown because a coach does something stupid. And the ones that get blown because the coach did something stupid are much funnier.
Yeah, this one was just like I like there was a part that like Louisville was like, why are you taking like 3 deep shots here? And then like the one they got the crosser and he dropped it. I'm like, yeah, that's the first down. That's fine. I was like, just get the first down. Like get a field goal. Like, and then the 4th down, like he's just going for everything. And I'm like, I was like, oh, okay. And then like the stupidity sets in after that. It's just like incredible stupidity by like the hanging on. It's just like, I'm trying to go to work and the kiddo's like just hanging on. I'm just going to take out the trash. I promise you, I'll be right back. Just like the kiddo just hanging on. And then that penalty and then the offsides on top of that. It's one of those win charts. Like you're just like, really? They lost this?
The line goes straight down.
Yeah, it does.
It's beautiful.
It is great.
Line just goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
So
next game.
Louisiana Tech at Western Kentucky. Louisiana Tech won this game?
They did. And they put a picture of Big Red covering his eyes. I think it was like 12-7. Western Kentucky went up 7-0 early. And I was like, what the hell happened? One of the games that gets lost. You're like, what's going on? Where is it going on? And like it just gets lost. And then like I have no idea how they won this. They won 12-7. I just don't know what happened. Yeah, so I'll post the picture of La Tech and Big Red's eye covering the eyes. But yeah, big win.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? Good for you, La Tech. Speaking of games that are lost to the sands of time, you could tell me anything happened in Virginia Notre Dame and I would believe you.
Notre Dame won. It was not close.
Yeah, that tracks.
35-14, I think, was the final. They didn't cover the spread, though.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Who has no idea. But yeah, Notre Dame won. Yeah, we don't need to talk about this.
Yeah, that tracks. Clemson at Pitt. I was in attendance for this game. Shout out to friend of the show, the Willard Years, for being an incredibly gracious tailgate host. Shout out to Arthur's special tailgate beverage, which turned out to be orange Mad Dog and Sprite because we needed a mimosa for the noon game.
We call it the Mid-mosa.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
All right, I want to say one thing here. My dad texted he wanted to know if you were okay, Pitt Girl.
I am okay. I have seen worse.
He said Pitt Girl must be sad. And I was like, I'm like, likely yes. I will find out later. We record tonight. He goes, okay, I watched in disbelief.
See, this is how I can tell that your dad is not a Pitt football fan.
He's not. He went to Dayton. He's from Pittsburgh, but he's not a Pitt fan.
No, because we all knew. We all knew that, like, was this game going to be dumb? Yeah. Did we have a chance? Maybe, kind of, yeah. But, like, did we really think that we were going to win this game? No. And as a Pitt fan, you can't come into a game like this thinking that you have a chance to win this game. You don't win if you think you have a chance. You have to think that your ass is going to get beat, and then sometimes you win.
To me, it's funny because I'm not someone who's like superstitious, right? Like I mean, I'll joke about it, but it's saying things like, "Oh, I did this thing that I like doing and Pitt won, so I have to do it." Like, but it's not like actual superstitions. It's like, damn, like I treated myself to sushi last time Pitt won. I got to treat myself again. Like that sort of thing.
Look. I'm gonna say that this is all Jordan's fault.
I'm happy to blame him.
I want to blame Jordan. He's not here. I want to say this: that Jordan went to the SMU game and Pitt was still undefeated. Right?
Yeah.
And they have not won a game since Jordan saw them in person by himself at SMU. This is all
Jordan.
Jordan's
You are
fault.
no longer allowed to go see Pitt by yourself. You cannot be unchaperoned.
Does he have to go see Pitt again?
I don't know what he's got to do to like break this jinx. Like it's the Jordan jinx. I have no idea what he's got to do to break it. No idea. None.
Do we all have to go? Because Pitt did win the last time we all went.
I know.
Get in, loser. We're going to Louisville.
Where we go?
No, oh God,
I'm
not
busy.
again.
I'm gonna be in Canton next weekend.
Okay. What's the next game? It's like what?
At Louisville for Pitt.
No, okay.
Yeah. No, but so basically, whenever I'm watching like a Pitt game, it's not necessarily that I'm saying like, oh, they're gonna win or they're gonna lose. But anytime that they do something or something like negative happens, and not necessarily negative in like, oh, like they tried their best and like something didn't work, but like anytime there's like a glaring mistake, my brain immediately goes, oh, like, well, that's gonna bite them later.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be the difference in the game right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter what it was, but like there were a couple moments in this game, but the big one for me where I was, fully prepared for what happened next, because there was a point where it's like, okay, Pitt is in position to kick the field goal to go up by 3 points with like 2 minutes left. But if they can get a first down, they can basically run the clock all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they don't get the first down. So immediately in my brain, I'm like, okay, yes, they're kicking the field goal, but them not getting the first down, that's going to be the difference. And this is anytime a bad thing happens.
There were several things in this game that could have been the difference, some of which I later described to a couple of Clemson fan friends of mine after the game as Pitt doing performance art, including in the first half. And nobody talked about this one because of what happened in the second half. But in the first half, there was a sequence where Clemson had it was like third and 21. Third and 21. Pitt lines up and is offsides 3 plays in a row. So Clemson eventually gets down to 3rd and 6, still fails to convert. Pat Narduzzi is a defensive genius.
Again, threw them off because they had the play call for 3rd and 21. They're like, no, 3rd and 16, we got a new play call. 3rd and 11, no, new play call. 3rd and 6, they didn't have a play call for that one.
No.
Narduzzi must have known.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Narduzzi-damus.
So we have that. And then in the second half of the game, Pitt's offense, and to be clear, both offenses looked like shit for this entire game. Dabo, side note, why didn't you throw the ball more? Our secondary is garbage, but okay. I'm not mad about it. But Pitt is we're getting towards the end of the game. We're in like late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and Pitt is 1st and goal from the 1. And it's like, okay, all right, we're going to line up. We're going to shove, right? This is what you do. No, Pitt lines up in shotgun, false start. And we get backed up 5 yards. Let me pull up.
Well, okay. So before the false start, there was a play where Pitt did get the snap off. The officials missed like a very blatant false start. Pitt gets the snap off and is still stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the play. I think it had gotten to 3rd down by this point. So there was another play where they got stuffed in there. But then there was a play where they get the snap off, run into the end zone, but like the whistles are blowing, and it turns out Pitt had called timeout right before they'd snapped the ball, presumably because of the play clock. And then Pitt proceeds to, for the second time in the game, get 3 consecutive 5-yard penalties
Yes.
without an actual play happening.
Yes.
Narduzzi-Damas and Narduzzi-Dumbass. Perfectly
Yes.
balanced, as all things should be.
Yes. So the timeout was on 3rd and goal. And 3rd and goal, he did get in the end zone, technically. But yeah, timeout, illegal formation, followed by delay of game, followed by false start, followed by incomplete on 3rd and goal from the 16, followed by field goal.
I mean, look, you hit the trifecta right there of 3 different offensive procedure penalties.
This is art. This is performance art.
Especially in the second half of that game, I don't know if Pitt was in some sort of like intentional we got to run the clock down deal, but it felt like they were at the end of the play clock constantly.
Yes.
Like it felt like every freaking snap it was like, oh shit, like we got to snap this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to the defense, which performed admirably, except for 20 seconds in which they did not perform admirably. And honestly, I can't even really hold that against them, because if the offense could stop tripping over its own dick, they would not have been in that situation in the first place.
I mean, Pitt has given up 24 points in their last 2 games, and they're 0-2 in those last 2 games.
I hate it here.
It's all Jordan's fault.
You look at what they've done so far this year. Like, there are some teams where they start hot, like Maryland, right? We're like, oh, September Maryland, and then rest of the season Maryland.
I know what
Pitt
Jordan's
is playing the exact same way in these last couple games that they played in the first half of the season. They're just not winning anymore. Like the play has not changed. Really, the only difference between the 7-0 start and these last 2 games, SMU game, we'll forget about that one. But the last 2 games is that when it's come down to the final drive of the game, instead of Eli Holstein leading the game-winning touchdown drive, it's been the backup Nate Yarnell throwing an interception.
Yep.
So Commish, what is the penance that Jordan has to commit?
All right. So Pitt has to play Louisville next, right?
Correct.
It's in Louisville.
They have to.
It is.
All right. Jordan has to get the shakaroni from Papa John's, and he has to eat the shakaroni. He's got to do it.
I will accept this as penance.
Yeah, you got to eat the shakaroni is back. More pepperoni, more cheese, more shack.
Right, next game, Ohio State at North.
We're running out of time. Let's go
go.
rapid fire.
Yeah.
Troy beats Georgia Southern 28-20. Surprise. Arkansas State gets bowl eligible. They beat Georgia State. The Royal Rumble, the Dukes of Hazard, defeat the Monarchs of Old Dominion 35-32 in a wild Sunbelt fun. South Alabama beats the Ragin' Cajuns 24-22. South Alabama almost blows a 24-3 lead, but they stopped the 2-point conversion for the Cajuns at the end. South Alabama tweeted at the end, it was like, special teams makes plays at the end. Embrace debate. Is a 2-point conversion stop special teams?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Done. Arizona State at Kansas State. Arizona State wins 24-14. K-State, spinach team of the week. 14 points on 412 yards, and they lose to Arizona State 24-14. Shout out to Kenny Dillingham. After the game, he acknowledged that, basically nobody takes a coaching job under sanctions, because it's a job that basically you're going to get fired in 3 years under, and now he's 8-2. Shout out to Kenny Dillingham. Boise State beats San Jose State. The final score is kind of a lie.
This game was real spicy.
This game was very spicy. San Jose State went up 14-0. Ken Niumatalolo, shout out to Nick Nash, the wide receiver, gets a touchdown. This was back and forth. This was 21-21 at one point. GT kind of puts it away. 3 rushing touchdowns, and then like a pick 6 is like the cherry on top to make it look like it was not as close. And so, the pollsters who vote on things like this, not watching the game, thinks it's a 21-point game. It was not. San Jose State was game. That's right. Texas State beat the ever-living crap out of Southern Miss. I think it was like 58-3 final score. They jumped into the San Marcos River because Texas State, the Bobcats, are bowl eligible for the second year in a row. Texas beat Arkansas. Colorado beat Utah. Whatever. UMass was beating the Flames. They took the Flames to OT, but then they lose on a missed extra point, 35.
I watched
34.
the end of this game on my friend's phone while we were at the Pitt game.
It's so sad.
Oh man,
go
UMass,
for
you
two,
tried
Don
so
Brown.
hard.
On your sword, Don Brown.
Hero.
On your sword. No, he missed the extra point. You got to go out like him. Do that. No tattoo for the commish, because I knew that. I'm glad ULM didn't get shut out. The closest point at this game, it was 24-0 at the half, and ULM drives down and gets a touchdown. I'm like, okay, you're within, like, you go for two and make it a 3-possession game, right? And no, we kicked the extra point, and that was kind of it. Whatever. I'm going to give a shout out to Auburn won 48-14. Oregon sneaks by Wisconsin. Pitt Girl, this was you not knowing the Oregon's kicker's name was Atticus Sappington?
It was me who
I
posted
assumed it
on
was
Blue
Jordan.
Sky.
I apologize.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't think that he's that good. Like, if I thought he was really good, I would have made people aware of him. But I'm like, I don't know. We don't need the pressure on the kicker.
We already talked about the Atticus's previously.
Yeah, no, this is just something that does not stick in my brain because I too suffer from goldfish brain. But it's delightful every time I remember.
I was just excited that I got to decline a Latin noun.
That's right.
Of course, that was you.
So this was the double Atticus game. The Atticus,
two Attici.
The Atticais, like cacti, Attici. But yeah, the punter for Wisconsin is Atticus Bertrams, Bielema, and
before and after Atticus Bertrams Bielema.
Atticus Bertrams Bielema.
Free Twitter handle to anybody who wants it.
You got it. Like, if you want one of those really pun names that you go, like, it's great. But yeah, both Atticuses there. Dan Lanning, fake field goal to try to like run the clock out, which was nice. I enjoyed it. It's very sickos of Oregon because he's gonna go for the throat every super fucking time. It's nuts. And then they didn't get it. And then like immediately the Badgers throw an interception, and then they fire their offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, the next day. Phil Longo fired. Wisconsin, you just need to have like big burly Wisconsin dudes running the fucking ball. That's it.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I mean, don't
reject modernity. Return to big Wisconsin.
Pound the rock.
You run the fucking ball. I don't give a shit about like throwing bubble screens on 4th and 1 and shit. No, run the fucking ball. Like the giant like power W, whatever you have as your logo. Run the fucking ball. Go Badgers, and like just pound it down the throat. Just do that. Just do that shit. That's what you are. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're winning 10 games a year. Like just I mean, maybe you get over the hump one time.
I wonder what Paul Christ is up to.
I have no idea. Tennessee at Georgia. Georgia wins. Whatever. Aggies versus Aggies. The A&M Aggies of Texas defeat the New Mexico State Aggies. Penn State at Purdue. The Purdue wide receiver just in chilling in the back of the end zone, like wide open. But the only problem, he's outside of the end zone. And we got Dan Orlovsky to comment. I was like, hey, just take it easy on the wide receiver. It happens from time to time. So it's like I'm just gonna just screen cap that real quick. Dan Orlovsky says, take it easy on the kid, fellas. I was like, it's been that kind of year for Purdue. So I'll just post that because he was just out of bounds, and then the Penn State person was like just in his face. It was ridiculous. Poor Purdue. Penn State beat the crap out of them. I want to give a shout out to a couple of different wild plays. We had a lot in FCS. All right. And this is what I wanted to get to in this time frame. Shout out to Willie Miles of Southern.
Oh, yes.
Play of the year. Play of the year.
Play of the fucking year. Willie Miles. I'm just going to, I think I can do this. I don't know if we'll get audio on it, but it was amazing. I'm just going to just go ahead and do that because I don't know if Beth has seen this before, but let's share it.
Scoop the ball. Run into the end
Willie!
zone.
Oh my
I'm getting
God!
tackled.
Go
No,
Willie
I'm not.
in the end zone. Do the
Look
arm
at
thing,
him.
Willie. Go,
The
Willie, go.
happiest lad.
The thickest six.
The thickest
So good.
thing ever. I wore this 6-6 shirt just for this video. Shout out to Southern. They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff. Shout out to the video by Kevin Batiste Jr. of WAFB9 in Baton Rouge. Get Willie some oxygen after this play.
Mhm.
Hand him the Heisman. Shout out to Southern. They made him with the stiff arm.
He's standing in the Heisman pose. This
He's
is
in
amazing.
the Heisman pose, giving the stiff arm to the Pine Bluff player. They made that his background on like the school site.
King.
That is his
yes.
background. King. Shout out to Willie Miles. Amazing. A shout out there. I want to give a shout out to Incarnate Word. They won the Southland. They were playing Stephen F. Austin. They were up 27-20, trying to put the game away. Zach Calzada throws a goal line interception, and oh no, Stephen F. Austin could possibly take this to the house. But there was a wide receiver who does a spinning back fist and forces the fumble, and Incarnate Word recovers on like their own 45-yard line. Incredible spinning back fist, forced fumble. Incarnate Word was able to drain the clock even further after this, and they hold on, and they won the Southland Conference title to get into the FCS playoffs. They have clinched the FCS playoffs. Shout out to Incarnate Word. Look, this is why Incarnate Word has made the Sickos Committee poll, because they have played plays like this. I'm sorry, Lumberjack, the Rev fan, Stephen F. Austin fan. He was they asked if he was upset. He was like, "Whatever, I was buzzed. I don't care. This play was great." So shout out to Stephen F. Austin fan. Give a shout out to Montana. They lost power in the stadium.
Oh no.
So they lost power, and they were calling in on cell phones to the Big Sky desk to give play-by-play updates of this game.
Oh my God.
Montana
Bring
wins.
back the telegraph.
I was just thinking that. We got the telegraph guy on the sideline just going,
Seriously, it was like a cell phone telegraph.
I have like produced a game that is being called on a cell phone due to technical difficulties. Like that's tough. That's not ideal.
It's so funny. In Big Sky's like tagging us in every single tweet is like, power's still out, but we're back playing and they have the live call via phone. The Grizzlies get their third interception of the day. Incredible. Also, Central Connecticut State wins in double OT off of a doinked off the helmet pass, 2-point conversion.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Shout out to hard hitting New Britain with the win. The doink off of the helmet, incredible. And then like the doink goes so high, like it was like a pop fly into the end zone, and they catch it and win the game. The whole team rushes the field. Shout out to the Blue Devils for the win. Big shout out to Mississippi Valley State. They upset Florida A&M. First win of the year for the Delta Devils. I think everybody in Division I has gotten a win. I think. So everybody gets one this year. Shout out to that. The punter, Alex Boot Davis of Mississippi Valley State, he had a longest punt of the week, and he follows us on the Instagram. I congratulated him on their win and them rushing the field and dunking the Gatorade on him. And they're having a great time out there in Itabena. Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks have won 4 straight since Commish attended a game at the Walk-Up Sky Dome. 4 in a row.
Hell
They
yeah.
were 3-4. They're now 7-4. If they could win next week, they may have an outside chance at the FCS playoffs.
How many did Pitt win in a row after you saw them?
A lot. Until Jordan ruined everything.
Right.
It may have been. I think it was 4 actually.
But Jordan ruined it. So I don't think Jordan's going to go to Flagstaff. I don't know. Is it?
Much to consider.
Much to consider next week. So let's check it out. Spinach games of the week. Bryant in FCS. They had 12 points on 410 yards.
Good God.
Oh.
CAA. They lost. Bryant lost to William and Mary, 22-12. It's not fair that Bryant had to play two different people, and they're only
That's
one.
true.
That's rude.
So, it's very rude. Also, BYU had a spinach game, but K-State was worse. They had 13 points on 354 yards. They lost to Kansas despite outgaining them by 110 yards. The FCS game, Montana State at UC Davis. Montana State survived this one. They were up 30-8. And then UC Davis, like furious rally, scores 20 straight points. They got an onside kick recovery after it was 30-15. And then they made it 30-20. They made it 30-22, and they got the ball back. And then they scored the touchdown, but Montana State intercepts it. Big Sky Bridget, who was in the airport and her app crapped out on her,
Oh no.
had no idea this occurred, and I had to break it to her in the Patreon, and she was just like, "Oh my god, I'm glad we won. I'm terrified, but oh my god, we won." So Montana State still undefeated. They survive Shredville barely.
There you go.
Still undefeated.
Big Sky Bridget, stay winning.
That's right. I believe. I don't know. I don't know who won. Was it Coast Guard or Merchant Marine? I think it was Coast Guard.
While you Google that, Duquesne beat Bobby Moe. Go Duquesne.
That was last week, but Duquesne won again,
Oh.
and Duquesne
The
is
Sky Notes. The Sky Notes. The show notes lied. That's fine.
that was a copy from previous last week. I didn't update that, so I apologize.
It's
But
fine.
the FCS Picker Wheel Spider Pirates, the Spiders played Hampton Spider Pirates. The Spiders won 24-21.
Thank you so much for my nightmares tonight, as
Spider
my
Pirates.
brain now has spider pirates to work with.
Spirates.
I think it's a Scooby-Doo episode.
Piters.
They all got little hats.
They got little hats. The Piters.
That's not better.
Zoink! Spider Pirates, Scoob!